Chapter 2359, The True Killing Move 1. The air rang with deafening explosions and the clang of colliding energies. Space itself tore apart, the Earth wailed in agony. Under the relentless onslaught of the group, Mad Falcon struggled to hold his ground, his body bearing ever more wounds. Attacks from the others were manageable, he could dodge them. But Zhang Yi's strikes? There was no way to evade them. You want to force me into elemental form, then exploit the plague's power to attack me again? I won't give you that chance. The Mad Falcon was no fool. He raised his hand, and the earth trembled around him. A thunderous roar erupted from beneath the ground as towering peaks formed from masses of white bones surged upward. Skeletons of every kind surrounded the entire group, thick black mist spewing from the gaps between their bones. Some skulls alone stood dozens of meters tall. These were the remains of countless powerful beings who had wandered into or been driven into the dark sun forest over billions of years. The sheer size of these skeletons alone spoke to their former might. While the corpses possessed limited combat strength, they served as reservoirs for the spirit-corrupting black mist. The skeleton mountain collapsed, sending billions of skeletons rumbling down toward them amidst billowing clouds of thick black smoke. Some lunar warriors turned pitch black at the slightest touch, like white paper soaked in ink, quickly resembling the ink-like state of the Mad Falcon. Soon, they turned on their former comrades, weapons raised against them. Ignore them. Kill the Mad Falcon, and this ends. Zhang Yi paid no heed to the skeletons, instead expanding the scope of everything under heaven. Whether skeletons or black smoke, eroding the dimensional gate would require at least 3 months of sustained assault to fully breach his 3,000 layers of defense. Everyone, don't stop. Blow him to smithereens. Zhang Yi roared, his fighting spirit surging. The main reason? He'd encountered a deranged night-tier outsider, and he was utterly greedy for that opponent's night origin. With Zhang Yi holding off those troublesome skeletons, the others naturally had no rear worries. Attacks poured relentlessly. Over a dozen Epsilon-tier outsiders were present, the weakest among them being Black Chariot tier. Many ants can kill an elephant, let alone a pack of hyenas. Swish! Zhang Yi formed his fingers like swords, unleashing attacks that stripped away spatial dimensions. Mad Falcon formed vast pools of ink around himself for defense. He hated this space ability brat with a passion. Yet he also envied him beyond measure. Why? How could a mere 6th-generation person possess power only a demon god could wield? His left hand shot upward, as if to tear the heavens apart, drawing in the dark energy swirling in the sky. I refuse to believe I can't pierce through your defense. Boom! A gaping hole tore through the inky clouds overhead, unleashing a torrent of ink as massive as a small mountain, crashing straight toward Zhang Yi's position. Why does that phrase sound so familiar? Shadows of many old acquaintances flashed through Zhang Yi's mind in an instant. Ling Feng, Phoenix Ren, Li Changgong. Even Ichigard and Jinglu. They all uttered this phrase before their deaths or retreats. Ah, why won't you believe my defense is unmatched under heaven? Though he spoke thus, when had Zhang Yi ever been overconfident? The End Demon God armor's power surged to maximum output. Simultaneously, a demonic sword rapidly coalesced in his right hand. Demon Sword, Bowser. With an ability index of 25,000 points, it had fought alongside Zhang Yi day in and day out, constantly fed on Earth centipedes and scraps of origin. After all these twists and turns, Bowser had truly come into his own, faring better than most of his peers in the Knights of the Round Table. Setting aside his brain-dead nature, tagging along with Zhang Yi had undeniably made his life increasingly prosperous. Zhang Yi balanced offense and defense, utilizing the everything under heaven defense while simultaneously launching an attack. Dark Realm Current. A dark vortex coalesced behind him, black currents surging forward along his demonic sword. It instantly cleaved the sky, colliding violently with the torrent descending from above. The gap in their offensive power wasn't vast. Though Zhang Yi couldn't suppress the Mad Falcon, he never needed to. Beside him, the silver centaur Gu Cheng, the black dragon embodied by Diaolan, and other mutants like King Arthur and Benjamin Morgan, all possessing power at the Black Bishop level, were the final straw that broke the camel's back. Ha! Attacks struck the Mad Falcon's body from all directions. The Mad Falcon's defenses shattered completely. His body, once again like broken porcelain, was blasted into a sky-filling spray of ink by the immense force. This time, the ink seemed even darker, the speed of reorganization much slower, and the pain and weakness contained within it were palpable. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. This standoff was no easy feat for him. But thankfully, the moment had arrived. Morning Sister Leibniz pressed her palms together, chanting loudly as she unleashed Morning's Lament once more, striking at Mad Falcon. Though his body had been shattered, Mad Falcon still commanded the ink to form a black river, using pure energy to forcibly erase the plague's power. How could he possibly be unprepared for the same tactic? He certainly wouldn't fall for it a second time. Seeing her attack fail, the Morning Sister wore a look of disappointment. After all, the power gap between her and the Mad Falcon was too vast. With him guarding against it, her ability could only be effective the first time. But was this the end? Absolutely not. Zhang Yi had gathered the power of all present not merely to inflict a fleeting plague-induced torment upon her. His intent was to eliminate his opponent completely. Xinxin, seize this chance. Destroy him utterly. He cannot withstand your power. Zhang Yi bellowed. The moment the words left his mouth, a girl clad in a black dress-style battle suit emerged from his shadow. Her gaze was cold as she stared at the Mad Falcon, now restored to human form. Raising her fair, jade-like hand, the shattered angel puppet materialized from the vast black mist behind her. Zhang Yi's true trump card was Yang Xinxin. The only flaw of law of cause and effect weapons was their difficulty in hitting targets. Yet once locked onto a target, they delivered an utterly staggering payoff. Zhang Yi had deliberately shouted that line to make Mad Falcon believe Yang Xinxin's abilities resembled Leibniz's. It was an energy-based attack. In the fallen angel puppet's hands, a bizarrely shaped black longbow had coalesced, as if forged from countless twisted symbols and causal threads. An arrow, likewise composed of phantom code and meme information streams, was knocked upon the bowstring. Yang Xinxin manipulated the fallen angel puppet. Head bowed, this terrifying, doll-like puppet possessed a pair of powerful arms that swiftly drew the great bow. The black arrow pointed directly at the ink-black mass that was Mad Falcon's body. Mimetic Virus, load. Chapter 2360, The True Killing Move 2. Yang Xinxin murmured the command, and the fallen angel puppet released its bowstring. The meme arrow left the bow without a sound, without an energy ripple. It seemed to exist outside this dimension, piercing through space and matter without resistance. The Mad Falcon instinctively condensed a torrent of black ink, space ability alien energy that corroded dimensions. In principle, 99% of alien energy attacks cannot escape the fundamental nature of energy. Such assaults, even if their form remains unpredictable, can be defended against through energy neutralization. It was like building a thick fortress to block any attack, be it arrows, spears, or machine guns. But it couldn't block poison gas. The law of cause and effect was a rule, not the energy entity itself. Thus, the mimetic arrow pierced straight through the Mad Falcon's black spatial energy shield wall. The moment it touched the black ink, it dissolved into it. The Mad Falcon's mental will faltered for an instant. He felt no pain from the ink clone being attacked, as if a gentle breeze had merely brushed past. That's it? But the next moment, he finally sensed something was terribly wrong. This is... No! A panicked scream erupted from the depths of the ink. The Mad Falcon sensed a cold, absolute command being forcibly written into his consciousness, rewriting his very essence. His thoughts began to freeze, control over his body stripped away. It felt as though countless invisible threads were coiling around him, threatening to turn him into a puppet under someone else's command. This control originating from the conceptual level terrified him more than any direct injury. Don't even think about it. Before losing himself completely, the Mad Falcon unleashed a desperate roar, activating his final backup ability, Causality Severance. Once more, sacrificing part of his own existence, he forcibly slashed the causal link of the mimetic virus, taking effect. Pfft! As if a piece of his soul had been ripped away, the ink that formed Mad Falcon churned violently before abruptly contracting, reshaping him back into human form. This time, however, he collapsed to one knee mid-air, coughing up black blood in great gulps. His vitality plummeted to its lowest ebb, his face was deathly pale, his eyes filled with the terror of narrowly escaping death and a torrent of hatred. He glared fiercely at Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin, especially the seemingly harmless young girl. For the first time, he felt the chill of potential death. Rules category ability users were his greatest nemesis. Moreover, the opponent's ability was of the control type, precisely the kind he loathed most as an irregular being. Effective. King Arthur gripped the sacred sword tightly, a faint flush of excitement coloring his pallid face. This law of cause and effect attack, even if his body can fragment, it will still affect the core. He can't withstand it. Benjamin Morgan habitually rubbed his fingers together, a gold coin dancing between them. He grinned. I knew it. With most of Earth's elite forces assembled, there's no challenge we can't overcome once we find the solution. Victory is ours now. Even Odin, usually composed, flashed a look of relief in his single eye. The relentless high-intensity combat, coupled with facing such an almost incomprehensible, supernatural ability, had been an immense strain. Zhang Yi, however, showed no sign of relaxation. His gaze grew even sharper as he locked onto the constantly twisting mass of ink struggling to escape the mimetic corruption. He understood better than anyone that a night-level entity with an ability index of 50,000 points, especially one corrupted by the sin of wrath, Samel, and having survived for 500 years in a hellhole like the Dark Sun Forest, would never possess only the limited abilities displayed before him. A dying beast is the most dangerous. Yang Xinxin frowned slightly, deeply regretting her failure to subdue the opponent with a single strike. Otherwise, she would have gained another night-level puppet. But this outcome was only natural. Any night-level being was a monster. Especially moonfolk, through their long lifespans, they had developed their own survival tactics. The Mad Falcon feared attacks based on the law of cause and effect most of all, so naturally it had countermeasures. If possible, I'd like to try this a few more times. Yang Xinxin raised her hand, and the fallen angel puppet's arrow transformed into a ghostly blue hue. Beyond law of cause and effect, she also possessed pure offensive power. Yang Xinxin, with an ability index of 38,000 points, was a true monster acknowledged by two great knights of the Yihan tribe. What others could only dream of achieving an ability index, she could break through effortlessly. Lord Chaos, let's do this again. Within Saladin's palm, a chaotic shadow storm coalesced, his readiness to strike alongside Zhang Yi palpable. Agreed. Zhang Yi's reply held not a shred of hesitation. Yet his gaze remained grave. A night-tier opponent, even a madman, wasn't so easily dispatched. Sure enough, the beast sensed danger, its aura growing more terrifying. It's been many years since I last felt this way. Have visitors from Earthstar truly grown to such heights? Too bad. Today, you'll all remain here, becoming nourishment for the demon god. Though clutching his massive sword, the Mad Falcon couldn't help but clutch his chest, coughing violently. Forcibly splitting his existence twice had inflicted severe trauma upon him. Ha! Ha! You forced my hand. Since that is so, then together, let us plunge into eternal madness. The Mad Falcon's mental roar came in broken gasps, yet carried a heart-stopping madness and resolve. The ink mass, tortured by the mimetic virus, suddenly contracted inward. No longer attempting to reform into a human shape, it exploded violently. But this time, what erupted wasn't ink, it was a dense, impenetrable wave of darkness, a tangible spiritual force. This wave instantly engulfed the entire battlefield, bypassing even everything under heaven's physical defenses to strike directly at everyone's mental consciousness. Gah! What is this? My head. It hurts. Except for Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin, Nearly everyone else staggered violently and froze in place the moment swept by this dark psychic wave. The resolve in King Arthur's eyes gave way to confusion and savagery. He swung Excalibur wildly, but the golden sword aura didn't slash at the remnants of the Mad Falcon. Instead, it swept horizontally toward Odin beside him. Odin roared lowly, his single eye blazing crimson as uncontrolled thunder erupted, colliding fiercely with the sword aura. Benjamin Morgan watched in horror as the golden bills surging from his hands twisted into writhing venomous snakes, turning to bite him. The silver centaur, transformed from the lonely city, let out agonized whinnies as its hooves stamped wildly. The black dragon, the embodiment of morning mist, roared indiscriminately, its breath igniting vast swathes of skeleton mountain. Chaos. Utter chaos. Chapter 2361, The True Killing Move 3. In the blink of an eye, the Allied forces' ranks crumbled. Everyone seemed to plunge into their deepest fears and madness, beginning indiscriminate attack on one another. To their eyes, their comrades were no longer allies, but monstrous manifestations of their collective terror, the very fear of the Dark Sun Forest and Samel itself. Mental corruption. Born of fear, it shatters a person's will, forcing utter submission. The Moonfolk warriors suffered most acutely, their fear of Samel was ingrained from birth. The Moon People warriors of the Dark Moon Empire suffered even more, for they were created by Samel himself, making them far more vulnerable to his mental corruption. Soon, their bodies were utterly blackened, transforming them into ink-like beings just like the Mad Heralds. Only two remained untouched. At the edge of the battlefield stood Morning Sister Leibniz and Priest of Commandments Orion. The instant the dark psychic wave struck, the floating copy of the Apocalypse before Leibniz automatically turned pages, emitting a gentle yet resolute holy radiance that enveloped her and Orion beside her. The cross clutched in Orion's hand also emitted a resonant glow. Their eyes remained clear. Though they watched their comrades descending into madness with grave expressions, they themselves remained unaffected. It's Samel's spiritual corruption. The Mad Falcon amplified the taint he absorbed and projected it onto everyone. Leibniz's voice carried a note of sorrow. Orion's voice was grave. The power of the Apocalypse shields us. But the others? They're in trouble. At the battle's center, Zhang Yi was enveloped by an imperceptible barrier, an intangible shield forged from his formidable psychic and space energies, forcefully sealing out the mental corruption. He glanced at Yang Xinxin beside him. The girl remained expressionless, her eyes, piercing through cause and effect, as clear as ever. Clearly, this level of mental interference had no effect on her. Just as the Mad Falcon had countermeasures against ability users of the law of cause and effect, Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin naturally possessed defenses against psychic assaults. Before arriving, they had made specific preparations. Namely, they had Yang Xinxin shoot each of them with an arrow. The meme arrow could fundamentally alter a person's cognition. Within Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin's minds, it had implanted the rule of resisting external mental influence. Though the Mad Falcon's psychic assault was potent, it couldn't override the foundational code Yang Xinxin had embedded, rendering it ineffective. So there was a backup plan after all. Zhang Yi snorted coldly, his gaze sweeping over his allies plunged into chaos as his brow furrowed. He hadn't been without the thought of shooting them all with an arrow, but these fellows would never agree. Yet this meant all the pressure now fell squarely on him and Yang Xinxin. Xinxin, disrupt him. Stop him from amplifying the corruption. Zhang Yi barked. Yang Xinxin offered no words. Instead, the fallen angel puppet behind her drew back the longbow of karma once more. Another meme arrow coalesced, aimed squarely at a source within the darkness that continuously emitted waves of corruption. Hum. Where the arrow passed, the twisted mental fluctuations faltered momentarily. The Mad Falcon let out a muffled groan, clearly wounded once more. The intensity of the mental pollution across the battlefield visibly weakened slightly, though those already affected showed no signs of recovery in the short term. Useless. You cannot stop it. Under the power of the demon god, struggle. Wail. The Mad Falcon's voice echoed from all directions. His true form seemed to have completely merged with this realm of mental pollution, rendering him elusive. Looks like I'll have to use that. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, his gaze sharpening to intense focus. He realized conventional methods could no longer swiftly resolve the Mad Falcon in this state. Prolonging the fight risked the lives of his allies already plunged into madness. Zhang Yi closed his left eye. When he opened it again, it had transformed into an ancient pendulum. Its minute hand swayed gently, clicking into place with a soft clink. Then, the entire world, relative to Zhang Yi himself, fell into absolute stillness. Minute hand of the hour, blink in the sky. Enveloping himself in the ultimate force of time, he accelerated to the realm of light speed, achieving absolute stillness relative to the world. For just 1 second. But 1 second was enough for him to accomplish many things. For instance, within the chaotic space shrouded in black mist before him, he precisely located the core of the Mad Falcon and locked onto it. Zhang Yi did not rush forward to attack, for ordinary methods could not slay it. Within that 1 second of absolute stillness, he raised his right hand with a motion that seemed slow yet was blindingly swift. His intent sank into the alternate dimension, where a hidden door opened, a storage space he had concealed within. A power far older, colder, and more majestic than the demonic sword Bowser began to stir at his command. Ling, lend me your strength. As his intent radiated out, the phantom of a sword slowly coalesced in his hand. It was a colossal ice-blue blade, its body carved from eternal, unmelting frost. A tranquil yet destructive radiance flowed through its entire length, while a gemstone resembling a frozen star was inlaid upon its guard. The moment the sword appeared, the surrounding temperature plummeted. Even the black mist of spiritual pollution permeating the air seemed to freeze and slow. The sacred sword, sword of eternal judgment. Forged with the pinnacle of Yihen tribe technology, this peerless blade was the exclusive weapon of Ling, the Knight of the Sword. Remember, this very sword had once sliced Mammon into pieces and sealed him away. Zhang Yi gripped the hilt of the eternal judgment sword with both hands, channeling his immense supernatural energy into it without reserve. Then, he plunged the blade fiercely into the earth beneath his feet. Infinite. Sword domain. Clang. A clear, resonant sword cry rang out, as if piercing through time and space. Centered on the sword tip's impact, an icy blue halo instantly expanded, enveloping an area spanning several kilometers. Wherever the halo touched, the very fabric of space underwent a fundamental transformation. Gone was the original shattered, desolate landscape of the Dark Sun Forest. In its place emerged a realm composed of countless suspended, translucent, ice-blue blades. Infinite sword domain, a fusion technique of time and space abilities. After the great battle with Zheng Lu and under Ling's guidance, Zhang Yi grew increasingly proficient in wielding his supernatural, gaining deeper insights as if mentored by the ultimate master. The inspiration for this technique came from Zheng Lu's realm-binding chain, a method to completely isolate space, forcibly trapping enemies in combat with no escape. These ice-blue blades varied in size and form. Some were as large as door panels, while others were as thin as cowhair.